Hi guys, so today I'm gonna be drawing another one of the characters from the Archive series. This one is Criella. She is a tiefling blood hunter, so basically just making a ranger here. She kind of gave me like a design for what she wanted this character to look like, but it was basically just like the bust, so I had to like figure out what the rest of the outfit was. So here I'm just working on, like, the design that she gave me had like really thick sort of thick braids going down the side. And as always for these, I always do the poses off camera, because like doing the poses is the hardest part for me, and like unless I get like a good pose, I don't feel confident like finishing it. So I use when I do poses, I like to look for references online of like sort of what I'm looking for. Last time it was dead body, didn't find much of anything there, but for here it was just girl. So I looked at a couple of girl poses and I'm like, this is a good girl pose for a hunter. So working on the eyes, happy character, give it a smile. So this is sort of the main difference here between what the tiefling is actually supposed to look like. As I mentioned in the previous draw, the eyes, there are no pupils in the eyes, they're all sclera. So there you go. And she had this little I don't, boobs are hard for me, don't usually draw boobs, so there's boob. This sort of chest, shoulder, shirt area is like, I know I wanted that like hanging sleeveless kind of deal like that, but I wasn't like 100% sure how I wanted to do it, so I was like, maybe I'll make it detached and like there'll be like the rest of the sleeve coming off from this puffy sort of, I don't know what it's called, puffy sort of upper sleeve. But I'm like, maybe not, because it gave it like too much princessy the way I wanted to do it. So I'm just like, this will be more like Wood Scout, right? So just decided to make it come off straight from the main shirt. Working on the arms here, that's always fun. Let me just, I have to move my phone away from the microphone because when I record and if I get a notification, it sort of messes up the audio, so I have to re-record it, and that's not fun. Here's a design element I never incorporated into the final design. Unless I do, I need to pull up the image on my other monitor. Yep, that was sort of like those little rope that's tying it together. I asked her, I was in a Discord call with her during this, and I asked her if she's more of a pants person or a skirt person, and she's a pants person, so we give her pants here. Yeah, there's like rope that ties up the corset, I guess this is, in the middle, is an element that gets forgotten at the end. I thought it would be cool, but I'm just like, I'm probably gonna be drawing these characters a lot, and I want to make it as easy as possible for myself to draw them. So sort of, the least amount of details I have to remember, the easier. Oh, these pants are a nightmare. They're not pants, these are like super duper boots, like above the knee boots. I had a few references for this, but I couldn't fully understand like just how it worked in a 3D environment, so one of them has a slit and the other one has a slit on the other side, you just can't see it. Also trying to figure out how high this boot should sort of like work, because like it has a sort of lip that like lips over the actual boot itself, which is what I'm drawing here. I don't know, a lot of my art is just like, this would look cool if I did it, and then I do it and I'm like, oh wait, I have absolutely no clue how I'm doing it, so I just have to wing it. So like in here, like I have no idea what a calf looks like, so we're kind of just guessing. Her horns, so this is one where she actually sent me what horns she wanted, so we put those horns on there, as opposed to Mort, who kind of just has like little nubs because couldn't be bothered. So originally I was gonna make it so like she was just like shoulderless. This is her little hand crossbow, like Vayne from League of Legends. Very specific, peculiar about that. I wanted these to be like sleeves, but then I'm like, I don't know what I was like. I was just like, maybe I won't make them sleeves. Maybe I will make them sleeves. Maybe when I was coloring, I forgot what the actual like idea for this was. So all I had were like lines, and then like when I finished that hand, I sort of make it into like a fingerless glove, because that's always something good for explorers to have. I'm giving her a little belt here to hold up her little whip, and it's basically going to remove the idea of this corset altogether and just make it a top, which I'm happy with. I need to study more on how to draw corsets, or I can just keep winging them, and like eventually they have to look like a corset, right? Like it's the monkey and the typewriter situation, where if eventually I draw enough corsets, one of them will look like a corset, right? This hair floof, I have no... this hair floof is something... She sent me the image of what she wanted, and it had this hair floof, so I'm like, okay, I can work it. And it has like... it doesn't look anything close to what the hair floof actually looks like, but it's hair, so hair moves. Hair can be whatever it wants. If someone says hair's ugly, just be like, no, you're looking at it from the wrong angle. I gave her like this leather boob plate. I don't know, her character wears leather armor, so I was just like, okay, that's leather, and it's because she's a girl. Girl armor shows boobs even though it doesn't in actual armor, so I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, but like she has boobs, and like none of this is actual armor. I don't wear Mort doesn't wear actual armor. Damaris, like the way I design his armor, you can't really say that it's armor. It's fantasy. You can pretty much make whatever you want. And because she's a girl, I was just like, you know what? Today's the day that I'm gonna figure out boob anatomy. So there's some boobs. Moving down here to the arm, sort of still trying to figure out whether or not this is a full sleeve or not. I don't know if I ever truly figure out if it is. Working on this crossbow, drawing it was a lot easier than coloring it, and even in the final thing, I don't think I've colored it very good. And something, something that I was debating, or like, I don't know about the crossbow. I wanted it, maybe I should have made it like peek up a little bit higher, so like it sort of like creates a tangent with the, you see me drawing the fingers there, like in that sort of area. Maybe if I brought like the arrowhead a bit higher up, it could have been cool. Like it could have been like, ooh, poking, but like I felt like that isn't actually where the hand crossbow goes. And also, if you think this pose is unrealistic, it's not. Just do it. That hand, every time I show this image to someone, they have to like position their hand in the way that her crossbow hand is, and they're like, oh, that actually does make sense. So it wasn't on the reference. I freehanded that whole arm there, so I really hope that it does look good, and I'm happy that people do think it looks good. So working on these boots here, these boots have absolutely nothing cool about them besides the fact that they have a lip and that they're knee-high, above knee-high, because I don't like drawing shoes, so I sort of cheap out there. Drawing her whip here, when we go to the coloring process, it's going to be like 5,000 different colors, and none of them are going to look good until like the very, very end. And I do take some pauses here, but hopefully now that I sped it up, the pauses are like not really noticeable. Probably are noticeable. I'll probably call them out when I see one of them. Figuring out how her whip would actually like realistically stay attached to her belt, and I came up with this. And it's not a very good thing I came up with here. That little, I guess it's a hole for her to like string her whip into, but it's so small, I just like, I don't know why it's even there, to be honest. It might as well just have been floating on her hip. I probably should have given her a buckle. This is where I was like, I like to, sometimes you need to give a different color to the line art in order for the color scheme to work, and because she has very like pale skin, also fixing that hair floof because I didn't like it and it was bothering me, so I was just like, yeah, that'll be better. And it helps hide more of the horn, so I don't have to really help describe what a lot of that anatomy is. What was I talking about? Line art. When you're doing colored line art, she's a very pinkish character. Her skin's very pink, pale pink. Her horns are very pale pink because they're the same color as her skin tone. Sort of just like if I had used, and her hair's like this blue color. This blue color is the bane of my existence. Trying to figure out what to do, how to make this color scheme work with like pastel pinks and like a blue. So this blue color gets changed a lot. I think The only color that never changes, looking from the recording and the final image that I've done, is the purple brownish grayish, like around her neck, her gloves and her boots and her whip. Color sort of stays the same. So got one thing right. Her eye color is I don't know what it's nope, that's if you're straight. You know when you have like two different eye colors, so that's what's happening here. She wanted one white, one black, because that's tieflings can't have that sort of eye. Here's me dinking around with the blue hair, thinking that I can make it work with this purple bodysuit. Spoiler, this bodysuit does not stay purple by the end of this. This is a very interesting look, I'm not gonna lie. Looking at it back now, I think there's probably too much green. Oh, working on the arrowhead, because I have absolutely no clue what color I should actually make the arrowhead. Because there's like, I think there's a little too much green in the blue right now. That makes the whole thing sort of like, it sort of upsets the color scheme. There's me trying to figure out what freaking colors I want that crossbow to be, but at the end I make the colors boring. Very dark and very boring, but whatever. Her whip also doesn't stay blue. Maybe like seeing purple, because I'm like, hey, how attached are you to like the blue hair? And I'm like, no, I'm somewhat professional. Here's me trying to, you can't make like the eyes like completely white or completely black, so one's like light gray and one's like dark purple, and then I brought some purple into the other eye to sort of like unify the design. But I'm pretty sure that's not even what the final eyes end up looking like, because I do fix them again. She has makeup. I guess this is just berry juice because we're in D&D, and D&D doesn't really have makeup, so give her a little blushy. I think I end up removing most of this makeup, or I keep it like that, or I make the opacity darker. It's kind of hard to see from the final design, and I also like have no memory of drawing this. So like I have like, oh yeah, here's me foolishly touching the one color that looks good in this entire design. So I quickly just go back, and now I'm back to like this blue, and you're like, maybe if I make it like purple. But she's like, nah, what if you made it like navy? And I'm like, ooh, navy is a good idea. So I changed the line art to reflect that like cooler navy, so it sort of brings the color throughout the rest of the design, because you can actually get away with like an outrageous color if it's like a dark outrageous color. So like the blue has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the design, but because my line art's blue, here I'm also fixing the eyes. Because the line art's blue, it sort of like makes it work. So for the eyes there, I sort of just made like one sort of whitish and one sort of like dark purplish, and then I sort of like brought the color I wanted in the center. The white one's actually like a purplish gray, like very light purplish gray, and then I put a white in the middle and put like a purple in the middle of the dark one, and I sort of blended it around, so it sort of gives it some depth and makes it look good. They also get like, I don't know, this is way out of my comfort zone. When I was drawing those eyes, I'm like, I don't know if they can make these eyes work in my style. Here again, me absolutely ruining the only color that works, but hey, it led to a discovery that maybe I can make this bodysuit a sort of peachy color to sort of like bring in that makeup into the rest of her design. Giving her some like eyelash, some feminine eye shape, giving her that little nose bridge that my other character doesn't have. Mort, he has no nose bridge. I just forgot to put it in, so now he just has a very flat nose. What am I doing here? Adding the eye shine. I know we're not done yet because I still have to shade this thing, so yeah, that's me. That's me pretending to be good at art, be like, oh, if I draw on the canvas where the light is coming from, that means I know I will never get lost, and the shadow should help. But like, I just end up doing the same thing I always do, which is lazy shading, which is like the shift click. It ends up working out pretty good, but I have absolutely no reason to put that giant sun in quotation marks in the top left there to show where the light's coming from. If anything, I think it messed me up in some places. Like, I'll definitely point out one of my biggest regrets on this. Not that belt. That belt actually is not a regret for me when I did that little shading thing. I felt so cool when I did that, but even if it's pointless, it made me feel good when I do it. So here is an absolute atrocity. Awful. Why? That middle part should just be shaded. It does not look good. You see that little unshaded bit in the middle of her whip? that part, I'm pointing at the screen like now, like you can see me, but that part should just be shaded, and I am upset, devastated, and honestly my lawyers will be hearing about this when I sue myself for poor shading. So that's one of the biggest things I'm angry about. The other thing I'm angry about is this freaking crossbow. It doesn't look good. It looks so bad. Ugh, whatever. The shading on it's fine. I don't care about the shading. I wish I didn't put that slit in the arrowhead. I think you could tell it was an arrowhead without needing that slit, doing some shading on the eyes. Never really know how to shade eyes, but I've seen some guides, so. Me giving her a little lip shadow, shading her horns, which, did I even do the horns good? It's debatable. Depends on who you ask. I think I did them good. Shading the hair. I'm shading in this color. If you ask me, like, why did you decide to shade in that color? I couldn't tell you. It's like I shade, when I'm shading each character, I just shade them all in different colors. Like, cause I end up multiplying this layer and like turning it down. Yeah, like I'm doing now. So it's sort of like not as bad. But like, oh, and that's the end of the video. No, it's not the end of the video because I still have to add the actual pictures at the end. Sorry, because I'm doing the voiceover. So I'll just continue. Screw it. Where was I off? Yeah, that's shading. Love it, hate it. I think it's cool. Don't know where I get the colors from. Whatever color feels right at the time for shading, I'll use. What that means when I bring all the characters together into one area, it's sort of like the shading's like, what the hell is happening? So, I don't know. That's the end of the video. I hope, again, the music is good. Hopefully it's not as loud as last time.